I brought you doormat.
Oh, look at that. Backdoor guests are the best.
Cynthia, you dirty dog. Hello and welcome to or back to the channel where I review movies you probably never heard of. Today we look at the 1990 Terri Garr, Robert Ulrich crime comedy, A Quiet Little Neighborhood, A Perfect Little Murder. We jump right into it as our main characters have just had a kid and are being ragged on by their city-dwelling friends because they're moving to the suburbs.
I, Martian Ross Pegler,
I, Ross Pegler,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will never
never
buy a barbecue grill
barbecue grill
or a power mower or a welcome mat, a hammock, or frozen dinners.
Immediately, their fears of becoming one of those people is realized when the suburbs are so alike they can't even figure out which house is theirs. And we meet Cynthia, their neighbor, who works for a home sales company.
It's this one right here.
No, I think it's this one.
No, it's this one.
No, it's not. It's this one.
In fact, I wanted to give you one of my calling cards.
What is that?
It's a toaster cover. Betty Jean Homewares.
Oh, you mean like those ladies in the pink Cadillacs?
Lincoln's.
Do non-Americans know what Mary Kay Cosmetics are? It was a direct sales company very popular in the 80s that encouraged early girl boss stuff of telling housewives that they can have their own money and own independence. In reality, they paid $100 for the right to bug their friends to buy cheap crap. But the top salespeople in the country would receive pink Cadillacs. Anyways, back in our movie, the main couple breaks one of their early rules by buying a baby monitor that picks up what we later find out is a cordless phone conversation between two people in the neighborhood having an affair and plotting to kill the husband's wife.
I'm here. Oh, I love you.
Ross?
I want to kiss your eyes, your cheeks, your mouth, your neck.
Ross?
They don't immediately know that it's a cordless phone because they're city people and don't even know that they exist. They also don't know that primetime television exists and are shocked to find out that there's sex on TV.
But what are we going to do about you know who?
What can we do?
I don't know.
Are you talking about murder?
I'm talking about us, Brent.
Not convinced it's TV characters being picked up, she does some research and finds that a cordless phone within 500 yards could be picked up by the baby monitor. So she gets a job with Cynthia's company and goes door to door, finding people named Judy and Don, the names she had heard.
This is Don Corman and Cynthia Corman, and Don Hecker and Judy Hecker, Judy Lipton and Don Lipton.
Hank.
Oh, Hank. I mean Hank. Of course. Look, would it help you any if I drew you a chart of all this?
Yes, Terry. Yes, it would.
This should make things very clear. Now, first of all, Hank Lipton is not a Don, and Cynthia Corman is not a Judy. So neither one of these people could have been the voices on the kitty com. Now, Judy Hecker is home all day, but she doesn't have a cordless phone, I'm pretty sure. And then Judy Lipton does have a cordless phone, but she works all the time. So it couldn't have been her voice on the kitty com either, unless she was on the phone to some nearby Don who wasn't a cordless phone. But it couldn't have been Don Hecker because he works all day. So that leaves us with Don Corman. So, there you have it. It's as clear as mud. Judy Lipton and Don Corman.
Oh yeah, it's obvious. Anyway, the wife breaks another one of the rules set down by their city friend and has lunch with the girls. It's not a fun lunch.
I know who you are. I know what you're planning. Don't do it. I beg you, don't do it. Don't.
Back on the baby monitor conversation, Judy wasn't able to go through with it and kill Don's wife, so they're rescheduling the murder for another day. But since then, the wife has threatened Judy and Don, so now Don's going to take care of the wife. And somewhere in the movie, the main couple freed rabbits because they're animal rights activists from a lab, and this happens.
What is this, The Godfather?
By this point in the movie, the wife had become obsessed with soap operas and convinced that she's living in one herself, coming up with conspiracy theories based on the plots of the show in order to solve the mystery. The husband has tried his best to deal with her thoughts of a murder in their little quiet town, but he finally has enough, and in order to stop having to listen to her anymore, he jumps out of a moving vehicle.
Ross.
I'm going to work now, dear.
Ross! Ross, don't you... Close that door. Ross, get back in this car!
Have a nice day.
Close that door. Ross, you're completely out of your mind!
She stopped for about all of a second before driving off to continue her investigation. She goes to Dr. Don's office, poses as a patient in need of medical help. When the husband shows up and says, oh yeah, she needs help. She needs help with her head.
You break the damn TV if you have to, Ross, and I mean it.
No, Don, it's not just
know
a soap
all my
opera. It's
children.
her life. She
There's
can't
no
tell them
Santa
apart
Barbara.
anymore.
I know. My wife's the same. I'm telling you.
No, not like this. You know what she thinks? She's convinced that there's somebody in our neighborhood who's...
No! Don't, Ross, don't.
The wife rushes out in order to stop her husband from ruining the investigation and meets up with all the women once again. This time it is revealed that the pills older Judy was seen stealing were not to kill anyone. She actually planned on committing suicide. And younger Judy, she does not have a high-powered full-time job. She's a part-time secretary who's home all day. So everybody's back on the table. Correction, the part with the younger Judy doesn't happen until a little later in the movie when she's going around telling everyone about the affairs.
A mild sedative that I've been taking a little of.
Judy, did you steal these from Don's office? Marcia, my goodness, why would you accuse Judy of stealing those pills? Well, because there's no prescription label on it.
It's all right, ladies. I've decided not to. I was going to, but I chickened out.
When the husband finally gets home, he probably had to walk since she took the car. He does not want to hear about any of this and threatens divorce so she doesn't throw the baby monitor away. She refuses and he leaves. They're gonna break up over this. So the investigation is back on, and instead of being gentle about it, the wife decides to just hit this problem with a hammer and tell all of the wives that everybody's fucking to see who reacts. First up is Cynthia. The wife tells Cynthia that she's heard Don involved in all this sex talk.
Oh, he's brutal. I've heard him on the kitty com. He's an animal.
No kidding. I always knew. Underneath that shy exterior, there beat the heart of a tiger.
Cynthia's a freak and just wants to figure out how to get that crazy sex. Next up is older Judy. The wife says she's the one having an affair with Don in order to see if she gets jealous.
I just can't explain it. I mean, there's something about him. He's magnetic and, well, he's incredible in bed.
The wife stops her investigation just long enough to cry about her impending divorce and watch more soap operas when she gets an idea.
In cash, in a paper bag, in a public place.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not talking about anything. Provided you're at the fountain at Glenview Mall at 9:30. Tonight.
What in the world are you talking about?
I'm not talking about anything. Provided I get $20,000 in cash, in a paper bag, in a public place. Oh, Judy, I'm squeezing the phone now. Oh, Judy. Oh, I'm totally naked.
Judy, I'm completely nude.
My skirt is on the floor, and I'm starting on my panties, Don. Oh, Judy.
This all works a little too well. As she is taking a shower to prepare for the drop-off, the evil Don breaks into her house.
Hello? Hi, it's Judy. Hi, Judy. Is Marsha there? Marsha? No, why? God! God, chain your doors! Judy, what's wrong? I tried calling her house. She's not there. She's not at the motel. I have to find her. He's gonna kill both of you tonight.
So it's you. That's how I knew. But hey, you can have the tapes. No problem. Look, if you're thinking of tossing that in here, forget it. No one would believe it's an accident. I don't think. Don't do it! No!
Are you ready for a spoiler to a 22-year-old made-for-TV movie you've never heard of? The bad guys were young Don and young Judy. Young Don's still pretty old, to be honest. But he was going to get divorced. His wife, Judy, was going to kill herself until she realized she was going to get all this money in the divorce and be able to go to college. So he was going to kill her, keep the money, and run off with his young new bride. The movie ends inexplicably with them holding a barbecue that young Judy is allowed to go to.
The alimony, Mrs. Corman. In this case, the law school part of it. You see, Don Hecker didn't want to foot the bill for Judy here. It would have prevented him from buying this condo he wanted in Hawaii, this Shangri-La he thought he could create with this Judy here.
We also unexpectedly get an update on Cynthia's sex life.
I'm here to tell you I haven't had sex like this since Saipan.
Backdoor guests are the best.
Overall, this movie is kind of a movie out of time. It's a genre spoof of a genre that doesn't exist anymore. The people that live in the suburbs have lived there for a generation. Their parents moved away from the city, and they still work in the city, go to the city. There's no culture shock of moving to a small area anymore. I assume this takes place in Palmdale, which had a 460% population increase throughout the 80s. Other places like Rancho Cucamonga and Marietta didn't even exist in 1980 and then had 100,000 people by 1990. The mass migration that this movie talks about of the culture shock just doesn't exist anymore. There's a 10% increase every year, not the hundreds or thousands of percent increase that was happening when this movie was conceived of. That's not to say this movie is without merit. The acting is still very good. The plot is a little convoluted, and the movie does have to actually sit you down and explain to you with a chart of what's going on at one point. And the character herself explaining to you what's going on starts to forget people's names. But the idea of I don't even watch television has came back in force, in the idea of someone being obsessed with these shows because they haven't been into television in years, and just the engrossment of and binge watching stuff obviously happens. There are better versions of this movie. Obviously, The Burbs is a great example of what this movie was trying to do, and the small town idea of people getting involved in each other's lives. I listen to a podcast called Small Town Murder, where they cover murders in small towns. That has almost 400 episodes at this point. So, yeah, there was a lot of crazy shit going on in these little areas. The director is Anson Williams, who was best known for playing Potsy on Happy Days. He directed 1 or 2 episodes of basically every show in the 90s. Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place, Sequest, Hercules the Legendary Journey, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and many more. He also directed a movie we reviewed in the past, All American Murder, where a rich girl sneaks away from university to bang poor people and then murders all the witnesses to her enjoying sex. It's a very confusing movie. It has Christopher Walken in it. It is written by Mark Stein, who wrote this and House Sitter. The acting and therefore the cast in this movie is actually really good. It stars Robert Ulrich from Spencer for Hire and the previously reviewed And Then She Was Gone, Terri Garr from Close Encounters, Tootsie and After Hours. The older Judy is Susan Rutten, who played Roxanne Melman on L.A. Law. The younger Judy is Gail Edwards, who I know is Vicky from Full House, but if you're a little bit older, you may know her from It's a Living. Cynthia was played by Florence Stanley, who was the voice of Grandma on Dinosaurs and the judge on My Three Dads. Jeffrey Tambor, who played younger Don, is Jeffrey Tambor, and Tom Poston played older Don, who has been in 100 things from 1950 through 2006, starting with Tom Corbett's Space Cadet and ending with The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Sir, yes. It seems to me there's only one other answer. It had better be the right one, Corbett. It is, if we can work it. We've got to stop that torpedo before it hits the destroyer. Stop it? How? By hitting it with one of our own torpedoes. Oh, it's absolutely insane, Corbett. You're out of your mind. I know it, sir. But do I have your permission to try it?
Hey there, young fella.
Hi. Do you live here?
Yep, for a long time now.
Are you one of those survivalist guys?
No, I just moved out here to meet women.
There are no women out here.
That's not what my real estate agent said.
Thank you for watching. Weirdly, last night when they were closing the bar, the owner said backdoor guests are the best because he was locking the front door. So that's fucking weird. Never heard the phrase before other than this movie and that guy. Oh yeah, and as always, I shall try to do better next time. Goodbye.
Must have been a crimp in the line.
I guess they're the type of animal rights people that only care about animal testing and still eat meat. Sure.